I am Steph, and just finished the FearLESS program with Rosanna. At the time, our relationship was really rocky. I was doing a job that was financially really abundant, I suppose. I was making a lot of money from it, but it was really detrimental to my self-esteem. It was really stressful, and I just was doing it just for the finances. I wasn't doing it for any other reason, really. It wasn't aligned with what I knew was in my heart or what was my sole purpose. I came here in this lifetime for healing. I came here for adventure. I came here to live a life of joy, like a life of freedom. For me, the word freedom has come up so many times. I just remember waking up just before I came to your workshop and just crying the one morning thinking, how did my life end up this way? I feel so trapped. I feel really trapped in my relationship. We just bought, we'd owned a flat together for a year. So we'd obviously spent a long time building this flat, and I was like, isn't this everything I wanted? Why aren't I happy? I wanted a cat. We've got a cat. I've got a perfectly good job. I've got a good family. Like, I live in London. We travel. We go to these restaurants. I'm living a life that I should be happy in, but I was completely miserable. And I just remember waking up and thinking, how did I get here?
You were living what I would call the sort of material trapping. It's the things that we've been taught we should want and we should aspire to. You've got the man, you've got the flat, you've got the cat, you've got the job, but you're not feeling fulfilled inside. Like, you were always doing new things. You kind of had lots of strings to your bow.
I probably changed my job every 2 years in London. Always felt like I was searching for something, but I wasn't quite sure. And every time I tried something, I was like, no, I'm not sure this is it.
So that would be what I'd call a multi-passionate being, right? So you're waking up. So very often, the way that our family or our friends will perceive it is the way you talked about it in the workshop. It's like, oh, you never stick at anything. You're always trying something new. You never follow through, which is a kind of negative on actually what I see as turning all the lights on. So if I look back on everything I've done in my life, it's all led towards what I'm doing now, and I'm going to keep refining it. It's very easy to think and to go into that negative narrative of, oh, I don't know what I want to do. I haven't got it yet. What's my sole purpose? So many people are there. So how do you turn that around? How do you go from this isn't me wasting my time to actually using your whole soul energy and understanding that actually this is all part of my journey. I just don't know yet the order that it's all going to play out. And these are tools in my arsenal that I'm going to use and bring together to get me to this new version of me.
I remember afterwards speaking to you, and I 100% knew that I was going to do some work with you. It was only when I seen this clipper sailing adventure race. I've never sailed before. When I saw it on YouTube and I just saw the waves crashing over the boat, and I just saw these people out in the ocean, like, at the mercy of the elements and stuff, something inside me just was like, Steph, you've got to do this. I went and I was like, I'm going to do the first level of training and see what happens. And I remember doing that first week of training and feeling I don't have that self-belief to do that. And I was also really surprised at the end of the week where I got amazing from all of the trainers. I got this amazing feedback, and they said to me, the only thing standing in your way is your own confidence. You just need to go away and work on your confidence. And I thought, something's got to change. These people are telling me that I'm really good at something and I don't believe it. Like, why I should be the first person to believe this. It was after that then that I got in contact with you, and I thought, actually, if I'm going to do this clipper race, I need to have that self-belief. I need to have that self-confidence. That was when I got in touch for a breakthrough call. Also, with the confidence of signing up to do clipper, it also gave me the confidence to say, actually, this relationship isn't working, which then meant walking away from the relationship, flat, the cat. Might as well walk away from the job too. So many of them were living these lives aren't conventional. Why do I think I have to be living this life? And I've always said to people, oh, you can be anything you want to be. Anything you put your mind to, you can do. But I wasn't actually doing that for myself.
You embarked on the group coaching with me. The point of the group is that we're learning through each other in the group. We're all representations of each other, different aspects of our being able to let go of the conditioning that holds us in the life we don't want to live and the mindset we don't want to live, to actually find access to that courage and clarity to create the life we want. You kind of had the most to lose and therefore the most to gain in so many ways, because you did walk out of your life. You've just decided you want to live in your truth. So your platform for what you do want was everything you didn't want. The big thing for you is, I feel in a large way, is the financials, because you had to invest in the clipper. Sharing how much you invested in your training and actually going?
£12,000.
And you'd already invested in that before you invested a couple of thousand in working with me, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember you said you wanted to do it and you were going to pay in installments. This was working with me. But it took me 3 or 4 phone calls to get you to the point where you actually paid your deposit. So what's going on there?
I'd just spent £12,000 and I was like, and I'd used my savings really to do that. It was more, I used the money as like an excuse, but it was more me actually facing myself to be like, Steph, if you're going to do this, you've got to do the work. You have to commit to it.
Often people will hear what this course is, but they don't really know what it delivers. And I just want to reiterate, old life, new life, bridge. Because if you want to be able to let go of the conditioned securities that you think you have that actually just trap you in a life you don't want, you can't just let all those support structures go without having another support structure around that will catch you as you let that go. So the way I see it is like you have a house, that's you. And what we do through the program is we create the scaffolding to expand that house into what you actually want it to be. And so what you did with the course was you evolved that inner family from the lack of self-belief, lack of self-worth into the heart space where your soul energy can come in and remind you what a healthy masculine, healthy feminine, healthy inner child relationship is.
I think even coming back to my parents, I suppose I used to look to them a lot for their feedback in my life, whereas I realized they've got limited perspective in terms of what I can actually achieve. So getting advice from them isn't best for me. It's made me much less reactional to them and what they say to me. When I came home, there was quite a lot of friction between that because they were getting used to that dynamic. Whereas now, actually, my mom now comes to me and is asking me about, like, oh, you made that really good vegan dinner the other night. And, you know, they now are actually interested in these things that they were really defensive of when I first came back. So it's actually been quite healing for all 3 of us.
And that's how you test the reconditioning. So when you've gone through a detoxification of those early memories, which is what we do in the program, we unplug from the limited mindset of our parents without being disrespectful to them. You are able to be much more compassionate towards their limited perspectives because you can see that they're not doing it on purpose. They're just trying to do the best they can. And this takes the blame away. We move into forgiveness. And I think this is such a big part of why people sit on the fence of actually stepping forward. They're scared of isolating themselves from their family, their culture, their religion, whatever has been a big part of their lives. You are helping them to evolve their consciousness by you being you.
I suppose the thing that I've got the most out of my sessions, I suppose, was trusting my intuition. And also, I suppose, just being more aware that the world and the universe is communicating with me all the time. Now I've got to realize, actually, that intuition is that little quiet voice that's telling you, that way, Steph, go that way. Really like good example, when I got back to Durban, I knew that I wanted to get some more sailing experience before Clipper. My intuition was like, yes, Steph, go down, you're going to find someone, it's going to work perfectly. Getting there, I got stuck in town there, I couldn't find the parking. Then the parking that I did find, you had to pay for. I didn't have cash on me, you could only pay with cash. And I was like, by the time I got there, I was late, so she had left. I was so close to just leaving. As I was about to do that, you know, lots of people drive and they have car guard. Then I just looked at him. Something about it was just like, I was like, Steph, this is so a guide giving you a message. Actually, I'm looking for a boat to get on. Can you help me? And the next thing, he'd introduced me to a skipper, and the skipper welcomed me onto his boat, and I went sailing with them, and we had a really, really fun evening sailing. The whole crew they were really welcoming. They were really good for my self-confidence. And I mean, these were people I've never even met before. So I just feel like I've really found my little place there. And for me, it was such a moment of actually, Steph, the universe was giving me so many signs the whole way through that I was where I was meant to be, but I got into my own head to like not trust where I was.
The voice of intuition isn't that negative voice going, yeah, 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 yeah. The voice of intuition is a soft voice going, wait, listen. When opportunity comes knocking, it comes again and again. How many times do you say no before you decide to say yes? If someone's on the fence about doing this course, about investing in themselves to actually create a bridge between the old world they don't really feel is satisfying them, they're just not feeling fulfilled. It's a really simple thing. Your heart's just not in it. That's a simple thing. Your heart's just not in where you are. You feel it should be, but it isn't. And you have a desire to feel differently in your current life, or because, you know, you're an example of someone whose life has changed 180, but other people stay in their life. If you were to say to someone who was thinking about it, what would you say to them?
I would say even though my life has changed 180 in the physical, the biggest benefit that I've had from this whole course is that I actually know what it feels like now to listen to my heart. Whereas before I used to feel so confused about what decision to make because I let my head get in the way. Whereas now I can actually feel what it feels like when my heart is open, when I'm making a decision from my heart. And this to me is completely priceless, because you don't then have to go and ask for anyone's advice.
That is what we would say the difference between your soul truth and your conditioned truth. It's not actually about letting go of the head completely, it's about the heart leading the head rather than the head leading the heart.
I can feel the right decision in my heart, and then from there you do have to use the mind then to actually be like, okay, well, how am I going to actually put this in practice? What steps do I need to take? But before, it was like there was that power battle between the two, and then you get really confused as to what that right decision is. Whereas now I 100% know who's making the decision for me. That's the most amazing thing that I've got out of this.
This is empowerment. I see in you at the moment is such an example of this fearless, empowered and free to be me, because fearless doesn't mean no fear. It's how you channel that fear. And that empowered is to be in your truth, even if others around you are just going no. And the free is to know the difference between conditioning and heartfelt desire. And you're living it. So thank you so much for taking the time.
A pleasure. Thank you.
Take care. All the best.